Nissan just said it is going to get electric market share back, electric car market share. It said it is going to bring its new electric cars to the world, and it's going to dominate once again like it did with the Nissan Leaf. Interesting comments here from Nissan. Is there any substance behind them? Well, let's have a quick look. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Nissan and their claims. Interesting. Yeah. Well, Nissan Leaf. It once was the best-selling electric car in the world. Nissan hasn't forgotten that fact. You know, the Nissan Leaf still could be a bestseller, but unfortunately, it had its worst year ever last year. Now, if you add together the fact that the Nissan Ariya is not exactly becoming a global sales success in the way that Nissan said it would, and then you have a look at what Nissan has had to do in China, its biggest car market in the world, with the Ariya, then you've got to start asking yourself some serious questions about why the Japanese got it so wrong. Look at Toyota. What have they had to do with the only real electric car that they sell in China? They've discounted it to $24,000 US. It's well below their cost price to manufacture them. And then Nissan has had to do the same. Nissan has just reduced the price of the Ariya by $8,000 US. Australians, that's nearly $12,000. $8,000 US. They've reduced the price down to $32,000. So clearly, this is a brand new car. Nissan has already reduced the price by 20%. 20%. It's been out for a few months. They reduced the price by 20%. It's really not going to plan for Nissan. Now let's have a look at what's happened with the Leaf. But first, Nissan's planned renaissance with the Ariya, they say has begun in the United States. Now, they have sold some Ariyas in the US for $43,000 US per car, which is, in my opinion, a lot of money to stomach. Now, the CEO of Nissan, Makoto Ukeda, is desperate to revive the Japanese car maker after 4 years of turmoil triggered by the 2018 arrest of former CEO Carlos Ghosn in Japan for alleged financial crimes and his subsequent escape to Lebanon. He escaped a musical instrument case. Seriously. That's how he escaped. An absolute Houdini act. I think it was genius. And the reality is Carlos Ghosn, in some ways, did have the company headed in the right direction. It was when he left the company, or when his power was removed, which was before 2018, in fact, a couple of years before then, that the Nissan Leaf was the best-selling electric car in the world. Since then, Nissan's fortunes have declined. Over the next decade, Nissan's goal is to introduce 23 electrified models, meaning some of those are hybrids, some of them are not, for its Nissan and Infiniti brands globally, including 15 electric cars. Nissan says that 40% of its US sales will be fully electric by 2030. In other words, 60% of all Nissan car sales in the United States will be gasoline powered. That's not a winning strategy. That is setting yourself up to fail. I mean, listen to this. 2 years ago, I was not sure the US would go to the EV era, Ukeda told Axios. Now, it's more obvious. Well, yeah, sorry, 2 years ago, but 2 years ago, there was more than 1 million Cybertruck reservations. 2 years ago, 375,000 people pre-ordered the Tesla Model 3. The writing was on the wall. It's ridiculous that the CEO of Nissan makes these claims and doesn't get fired for it. That's my opinion anyway. Now, Nissan are investing around $14 billion in the effort to electrify over the next 4 years. That's a lot less than some of their competitors. When I say some of the competitors, I mean some of the competitors in terms of actual sales. What Nissan sells right now, obviously in the millions. When you look at their competition, General Motors, Volkswagen, Ford, they're investing a lot more than Nissan. And they've started a lot earlier. Now, Nissan basically is hoping to do another Houdini act. Instead, this time as a company, not as the disgraced former CEO. It claims that solid-state batteries will save the company. Literally, it believes that this will really happen. It said 2024, then it changed it to 2026. Now it seems to be changing to maybe 2028. Maybe it depends on who you ask in the company. However, they do really believe solid-state will save them. But Toyota's been saying the same thing since 2014. Seriously, Toyota said in 2014 they had a solid-state battery. They've never shown it to the world. Does it really exist? I don't think so. Now, the interesting thing is here, Nissan claimed they've been working on a battery for more than 30 years. They say, we have been chasing after solid-state battery technology for more than 30 years. We want to be doing this because we are the pioneer of EVs. Pioneer. Now, a 2021 Cox Automotive study found that 88% of potential electric vehicle buyers know that Tesla sells EVs, but less than 35% know that Nissan sell one. Today, the Nissan Leaf accounts for less than 2% of the EV market, down from 70% in 2012. Now, pundits talk about Tesla losing market share, right? They say they've lost market share. They've gone from 70% to 68%. What about trying 70% to 2%? 70 to 2%. Now, here in Australia and worldwide, it gives you a good idea of what's actually happened. Sales of the Nissan Leaf have been in decline constantly for the last 4 years in a row, and that's despite record growth in demand for battery-powered cars in Australia. Nissan has blamed this incredibly poor run of sales on part supply restrictions. Seriously, you can't make this stuff up. The thing is, other car companies have faced the same challenges. Is it really legit that Nissan sales of the Leaf have gone down everywhere worldwide simply because of parts supply restrictions? No one is buying that. The decline in sales of the Nissan Leaf in the electric car market have come as the electric car market in Australia has actually increased 13-fold over the past 4 years. So this is a market that's grown 13-fold in 4 years, and Nissan sales are going down. The Nissan Leaf was one of 4 electric cars, excluding cars which were not in stock for the full calendar year of 2022, to record a decline in sales in 2022 with 331 sold. I can't believe 331 was sold. 370 was sold the year before. Clearly, it's just not been popular for a good reason for a few years now. Now, the Nissan Leaf's 2022 sales result was the lowest since the current generation model arrived here in Australia. And Nissan said this: demand for the Leaf remains strong as it marks its 6th year on sale internationally. It's facing stock shortages with a wait list for some versions. I have no idea which versions they are. Nissan didn't want to disclose that information. Didn't want to disclose which countries there is a wait list for the Leaf. Or I actually did Googling on this for about an hour. I could not find any countries in the world where there is a wait list for the Nissan Leaf. Yeah. And here's what Australia had to say. We sold 39 last month. We do have an order bank for those as well. So yes, there's demand for the Leaf. If we could supply more vehicles, then we could sell a lot more of them, said Nissan Australia. Well, I don't think that's true. When asked for an indicative wait time for Nissan Leaf orders, Mr. Patterson said this: it does depend on where you are and the specific model you're looking at. It's difficult to quote that. Clearly, he didn't want to give a true answer. Now, the interesting thing about all of this is Nissan actually said in the middle of last year the Nissan Leaf would be ending. It was finished. They changed their mind a few months later, decided, no, we didn't say that. The Nissan Leaf's not finished. We're going to keep making them. However, as of the middle of 2022, more than 600,000 Leafs have been sold globally since the original model launched in 2010. But it only took 3 years to sell 100,000, January 2014, 2 more years to reach 200,000, December 2015, 2 more years to reach 300,000 in January 2018, but then sales actually did accelerate with the launch of the second version, the second generation model in 2017 and 2018, reaching 400,000 in March 2019, only 14 months after the last milestone. But that was before there was any real compelling electric cars available. Once they came along, that was it for the Leaf. The Nissan Leaf was overtaken by the Tesla Model 3 in early 2020 to become the world's best-selling electric vehicle, when about 450,000 Model 3s were sold. Since launch in Australia in 2012, Nissan has sold 2,150 Leafs. But here in Australia, like almost every other country in the world, there are much better options to buy. The same can be said for every Nissan electric car on sale. I don't believe that's ever going to change. Nissan got it wrong. And I really do think that at some point in time, we'll look back and say, remember when Nissan used to be that massive company, that big Japanese powerhouse? Look at them today. Look at Nokia. Look at Nissan. Can you see the parallels? Now, sure, both of their names start with an N, but there's a lot more similarities than that. Thank you for watching.